join Tarsha on this journey to discover the rest of gold.
Welcome to the Adoption Journey podcast. I am your host, Tarsha Smith, and thank you so much for tuning in to yet another week of your favorite adoption podcast. I have with me in the building another fellow adoptee, and his name is Kevin, and he's also an author, but I'm going to let him introduce himself. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing? How's everything?
All right.
Yes.
So let the people know, before we get started, let the people know very quickly about your books.
About my books. Okay. I've written 3 books. First book is called Living My Shadows, Dreams Do Come True. And it's based off of my journey from the adoption system, the foster care system, joining the military, and later on finding my biological family. So that book talks about my journey. It takes me all through all the ups and downs and twists and turns of being in the foster care system and being adopted. Then my second book is A Shadow of Emotions, Life After a Dream. That book piggybacks off of Living My Shadows. Basically, that book talks about all the emotions that come with finding your biological family, because now you have they call it the triad. You have you got your adopted family, and then you got your biological family on your mother's side and then on your father's side. And so I was fortunate to find them. So at the same time, I had to deal with all the emotions because, it's one of me and it's a lot of folks.
A lot of them, right? Hold on. We're going to get to that story, though.
Yeah. And then the third book doesn't have anything to do with adoption, anything. It's basically it's about the military, time off on the military, and what we military gals and guys do on the off time. I kind of came up with fictional characters based off of real life situations. So it's a fun book, but there's a disclaimer on that book. If you're under 18, you shouldn't be reading it. So
Gotcha. All right. So speaking of your adoption story and the adoption triad, we're gonna dive in. So the very first question that I tend to ask everybody is, how old were you when you found out you were adopted? Or did you just
my mother gave me up at birth.
At birth.
Right. So I got adopted after being in a couple of foster care homes. I got adopted at the age of 16, 1976.
Okay. So you went straight to foster care, but you didn't get adopted until you were 16?
Right. I went to 3 homes. First home I went to, I guess they couldn't handle a crying kid, so they abandoned me. And so the second home was raised by some older folks. And then the third home is the home that I wound up being adopted after being with them for about 6 to 7 years.
What do you mean the first home abandoned you?
The first home, this social worker found me on the steps of someone's home with a bottle of spilt milk. I was dying of malnutrition. If they would have found me a couple of hours later, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So it was so bad that they had to feed me through my ankles because I couldn't swallow. Now, I carry the marks on my ankle to this very day. So every time I think about the journey.
Yeah.
That and so
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you leave that home and then you go to a second home.
Yes, I leave that home.
How old were you when you went to that second home?
I want to say that I was about 1 or 2 years old.
Okay, so you're still little.
I was still little, right? And I stayed with them till I was about 10 or 11 years old.
Why did you leave there, or why didn't they adopt you? Do you know?
Well, you know how foster care, they in it for the money, and so there was an elder couple in the late 60s. I think the foster father was a retired police officer. Anyway, there was a lot of abuse in that. A majority of my abuse
was just getting ready to ask you, what was it like being with them?
It was a lot of abuse. I was a black child. Talking about colorism. I had another person who was also there with me.
Were they white?
No, he was very light-skinned, though. and he was like two,
Okay.
3 years younger than me. But you
Okay.
know, we got along good. Matter of fact, he actually saved me. My father used to tie a stitching cord around my neck and put it on his arm, and he used to jerk me every time I moved. He put me between his leg while we watching television. That's how I watch television. And when he fell asleep, my foster brother used to come and untie me, and then we'd go play stickball. And he'd come back and tie me back up before he wakes up because he was very, slept very hard. That's just one little story. There's many little stories from eating to Christmas. How they treated me bad on Christmas. I had a little chair, and they gave him the whole couch. And he's telling me that because of my color of my skin, I was evil. They used to, pound that in my head. I used to hear that on Christmas. And
Okay, so I have a question. Did the social workers never come see about you?
when the social worker came, they put on a show for
Everything was on point.
everything
Okay.
on point.
It was tight when they came.
I had a shirt on. I was neat, and they put on the shirt. And back then, I think diapers. That's what they called them. They really was looking because they just want to make sure they had the kid had a place to stay.
Right. Okay, so you leave there around 10 or 11, and then you go. Now, why do you leave there? To go to the next one?
Thank God, fourth father died. So that's the first time I ever jumped up and down for someone dying. And the foster mother tried to continue on with the beatings and stuff, and I just had enough. I was 10 years old. She was elderly. So, back in the day, they had them big old dining room tables with the big legs and stuff. So I was real small. So I got in there. She couldn't get to me. So she always used a threat. I'm going to call Dyfus on him. I'm going to call Dyfus on him. Well, that time she actually called her. And that's when they came and got me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then you go to the next home.
So finally I go to the next home.
Now, but wait, I need to ask you, because you've gone through an ordeal before you get to this next home.
Yes.
So you get to this next home. How are you at this
Well,
point?
mentally, I can talk now. Probably at the time, all I wanted to do was, not to be rejected. So I just wanted to, in my head, I'm thinking that I cannot mess this up. I don't want to go into the into the system or a group home or anything like that. So I just hope that I get parents or people or family that will take to me, and I just don't want to mess up. So that was my thought
So you
process.
went in with the mindset of people pleasing.
Roger that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we get here, and now about 10 or 11, but it took them a few years to adopt you. Is that because of the system, or did?
Well, yeah, it's probably because of the system. I don't know. It could have been, they wanted to see how I was going to turn out, because usually,
I mean, but that's a long time, from 10 or
yeah,
11 to
that's a
16.
long time. That's a long time. That's a long time. And believe me, mentally, I sit back now and think about it and say, wow, I went through some stuff simply because, you go into school with people, you got to explain people why your name's changed and all kinds of things that happen,
Oh, back
so
up. What do you mean your name's changed?
see, I was born Kevin Hodge. So when I got adopted, they changed my name. That they I
Okay.
carry now, Kevin Barnett. So I
At
so
16?
so when I was in middle school,
Yeah.
all the way from actually all the way from kindergarten all the way up to high school, my sophomore year, my name was Kevin Hodge, and all of a sudden I had a name change. So now I have to explain to everybody. Of course, people was already wondering why I did not look like my mom and dad. Right. So I had always had to explain. So I always looked different. I looked different from everybody else in the family. So even though there was African Americans or blacks, whatever you want to call us now, but yeah. So but I had to explain that. Why. To this day, people still call me Hodge, which I take to because that's what I was born with. But yeah. So I had to explain that all the way through, even in the military. I had to explain it.
I want to ask because this is during the 70s, right?
Yes. I'm telling my age.
And well, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. And this is during a time where adoption, it was a stigma around it. It was secrets,
Yes.
the shame,
Yep.
and so I'm interested to know, and you talking about this name change, and I have to explain. What did your peers say? Like, were did
Well,
they pick on you, or like what was that like?
well, growing up, of course, okay, I got this family that's taking interest to me, and of course, they like, hey, would you want to change your name? So as a kid, you're like, oh man, I get the name change and I get to be one of them, you know,
Mm.
but you're one of them just in name, but you still don't look like them. You still don't have no medical history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But a little kid and being already, kicked out of two other homes, thinking anything I can grab on that makes me a part of the family. Because I'm like, if I don't take the name, I don't want them to think that I'm ungrateful. They might
Ooh.
put me in another home. You know what I'm saying? So it's all kinds of thoughts that runs in your head. So you say, okay, I really don't want to change my name, and I'm only 16 now, but still,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
16, but still.
I'm surprised even at 16 though, you're at this point at 16, you still felt the need to want to be adopted. Or did
Well,
you?
not well. I wanted not so much as being adopted because at that time I really didn't know what adoption was really,
Got you.
but it's
Accepted.
more of wanting to be wanted versus wanting to
Got
be that. Because mind you, my mother gave me up, and all
Right.
I heard in my second home was your mama didn't want you because you're a little black boy and you're a little nappy headed and you're ugly and blah blah blah, and she didn't want you. That's why they gave you
Are
up.
these people?
Yes, yes. So you
God.
constantly hearing that for 10 years. So all of a sudden you got another family, right, that says, "Oh, okay, we love you, blah blah blah." So man, I better not, I don't want to say anything wrong or do anything wrong, act like I
Yeah,
don't want to be, be a Barnett or whatever. So I have to, kind of like go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? So I went on ahead. I even took the middle name, because like, okay, bam, I'll be like my adopted brothers and sisters, my brothers, because they got the same middle name. So
okay.
you do these different things in your head, but when you get older, as you get older, you realize you're like, oh man. Then you start wanting to find yourself. You want, oh, wait a minute, you know, my name was this. So who is my mom? Who is? You start asking questions because
Hold on,
when you
we
join
gonna
the
get there.
military.
Hold on. Hold on.
uh,
I said, hold on, we gonna get
okay,
there.
okay,
Hold on, hold
right,
on, hold on, hold
right.
on. Because I wanna know now, you're 16. My
Mhm.
first question, because you just mentioned some brothers, how many within your adoptive family, how many kids were in the house? And are they biological to your adoptive parents?
Yes. Well, let me take that back. There's three biological kids, and then there was uh two, and then two adopted kids, and then myself, and then we had a foster brother that came in. He was older than everybody, and he wound up leaving. So but we wasn't all in the house at one time. He was
Okay, because I was
he
gonna say
was
that's a
there
lot
when
of
I
kids.
was there. Then when the other one came, he was gone. So
Okay.
basically, in the house itself, I shared a room. So basically, it was five of us in the house at one time.
What are the age ranges?
Let's see. Wait, I was there before the youngest one was even born.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's a
we
big
talk.
age
So
range.
right now it's like from the ages of a newborn all the way up to myself. So, but the all three siblings was about 2 or 3 years apart from each other. So when I came
Okay.
on board at the age of 11 or 10, they was like 4, 2, and one wasn't even born yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your relationship with these parents, outside of you people pleasing, but you would say this is a much better situation, a much
No,
better.
no, it wasn't. Well, from 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 most people's uh perspective or looking in, they probably would say, well, this is it. It was it. It was it to a certain extent, but a lot of things happened that was really bad. To the
Okay.
point where um my foster mother asked me, did I want to move out and go to the YMCA because of some things that had happened. and yeah, and to bring it all in, this family is a Christian family.
Mm.
So, there were some things, we was raised a certain way. I was a preacher at the age of 14, not by choice. I mean, it's like, if you will do,
Okay.
yes, a lot of things was going on. And plus there was some stuff that was going on that Christians shouldn't be doing. I'll say it
I
that,
hear you. I hear
so there
you.
were some things that happened. Yeah,
It, it
things that
and it
happened.
sounds like to me, if y'all want that tea, you're gonna have to get the book because he's not
Yeah.
spilling it right
Well,
now.
I didn't put that in the book, but I did do a podcast with somebody else, and I did talk about it because, I wanted to show some little respect to my
I
adopted
understand.
siblings, but
I understand.
everybody pretty much knows what happened. It's all out there right now. So
I understand.
uh,
Okay, so we get adopted at 16, graduate from high school,
yes.
and at what point do you decide I am going to take this search and reunion journey? When do we turn the corner?
Well, when I graduated from high school, I left home because of the
Of
events
course.
that happened.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I left home at the age of 19 and basically left a note on the dresser saying I'm out. And so uh,
Where did you
I want.
go?
I lived well. I had a pretty good. I had a couple of jobs, and I wound up getting a job working for transportation of New Jersey, driving buses. But
Okay.
I was living in a hotel. First, a hotel for a little bit, and then I rented a room.
All
So
right.
I did that, and then wind up, getting married early, and then having a couple of kids,
Okay.
and then wind up joining the military. Now, I've always wanted to inquire about my family, where I came from, and all that, but I had no idea where to start because in my head, mind you, I visited the lady that the second couple that took me in. I went to visit her in a nursing home before she died. I just wanted
Hmm.
to see her one last time to let her know that she was wrong about everything she said about me. Because at this time,
Ooh.
I got a car, um, I got a family, I'm doing all right. So I wanted
And how did
to.
that conversation go?
Well, it's funny. It's always funny because, and I hear the stories from a lot of adoptees. You
Mm-hmm.
have all this anger and all this animosity, and you want to get even, you blah blah blah. But then, for some reason, we always wind up turning the other cheek and giving in to, uh, wow, it's not even worth my time to even dig into her the way I want to
Yeah,
because
the way you
she's
want to.
feeble, she's old. So when I walked in there, I was escorted by someone who lived in the same household, not same household, but on the third floor. It was
Okay.
close to the family. And so she the one that got in contact with me and told me where she was at. So she drove me up there. And so when I got in there, she said, "Hey, listen, I have someone that has come to see you." Right. And so she reached out her hand. And so I put my hand in her hand. And then she said, "Hey, Kevin." She knew who I was. And she can't even see,
Mm.
and I said, "How you doing?" And she said, "How you been?" I said, "I'm all right." Now, mind me, I got all this stuff going in my head. This
Yeah.
lady that
And you
abused
came
me
to
and did
tell
all
her
kinds
off.
of, right, yeah. And so I said, "I came up here. I just want to know who my mom is."
Mm.
I just went straight to the point because I figured she knew. She told me a
Yeah.
name, so I went with that name. And the crazy thing is, I didn't have I felt sorry for her, but I didn't have a tear in my eye.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And I just told her, I said, "I just came over to see how you're doing. I'm doing great. I probably won't be coming up here again. Take care." And I walked off. And then, the lady that escorted me said, "You okay?" Yeah, I told her, "Hey, I had a lot of things to say, but, you know,
It is what it is.
she's got to see who she got to see." So, boom. So I took that name and I started, you know, looking around and all kind of dead ends. I just called the
Now tell
state.
me, I want to ask you, yeah, you just answered what I was going to say. I wanted to know
Mhm.
how you were searching.
Yeah,
Like, what did you do?
I called the state and,
Okay.
told them who I was and said, "We have no information." I didn't know
Okay.
how to go about doing anything.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so, okay. I try to
Because
get
we're
my
in the
birth.
80s by now, I take it, right?
We're
Now
in
we're in
the
the 80s or early 90s?
we in the 80s,
Okay.
mid 80s. Me
All right.
trying to find, uh, trying to find out, get my birth certificate. So I got my birth certificate, and of course it had my adopted folks on there. So I said, this is weird because according to this, she had me when she was 14 years old, which that didn't happen. And so I like, oh, but you know how they do the
Yeah.
adoptee, they just put people down there and just assume that, boom. So I said, you know what, I'm not even gonna. This is not gonna happen. So I kind of like didn't even look anymore. Then I got
So hold
interested.
on, because the age was wrong on your birth certificate,
No, not my
and then
age. It's just because,
no, her age was
well,
wrong.
her age was the fact that I knew she wasn't my mother. I knew that she couldn't have me at 14. This is Mrs. Barnett. This is not Hodge.
Oh,
They
it's
put
that birth certificate.
right,
It's not
right.
the
It's that person.
original birth certificate.
Right.
I'm with you now. Let me
Yeah,
explain something for the people that don't know. When you're adopted, you get another birth certificate
that's right.
that has your adoptive information. And
Right.
people like us, we're looking for that original birth certificate,
OBC.
OBC, with
Okay.
the original information on it. All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Because
proceed. I'm with you now.
this one didn't even have how much I weigh, what time I was born, how long I was. Didn't have anything. Just had
Gotcha.
adopted parents on there. So I said, this can't be it. So I got discouraged and then I got attitude, mad,
Okay.
boom. So fast forward, I figure I'm going to go ahead. I'm just want to get out of the state of New Jersey. So I'm going to join the military. So that's when it really hit me, because when you go join the military, they ask you for medical history.
Medical. Yep.
And they asked me, did, my parents ever have, heart problems, cancer, and all this. I'm like, I can't say
Oh
because they're
no.
not. I don't know. I told,
Right.
and then my answer was, I'm adopted. I don't know. So they just had blanks on all that. They couldn't say anything. So that's when this role started saying, I gotta find them just for that alone, just medical
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
What do I have?
Right.
I'm gonna get cancer? Do I have high blood pressure? All this stuff. So that's when the thought process happened. Um, then a couple of years after that, I wound up going to Germany. So now it's like, oh, all that, because now I'm in the military, so I got other things going on right now.
Right.
But the young lady that I married at my first marriage, yeah, I've been married a couple of times, and that's another story right there, because trust
That's another
issues. That's
podcast.
another podcast. But so she said, you need to find your parents because you have we was getting to have a kid. This is my third kid. She says,
Okay.
you need to find your parents. You need a medical history. I need if my son, got, can have, diseases or blah, 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 blah. And so, I started looking to hire an investigator in Germany. So I wound up getting this list and of names, Hodge. And I didn't know where to start. I was just, Gloria is the only name I had. And so we couldn't find nobody on this list named that name. But there was some people on there that he thought might know. So he gave me two people. Now, mind you, as I don't want to. I guess later on down the line, I can probably tell you that one name on there I saw, but I didn't pay no mind to it, is a male, right? Because
Okay.
now, let me back up a little bit. Now, when I sent the email to the state, now a little mature,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can type, I can put things together and all that stuff. So what I did is sent a letter to the state of New Jersey asking for information about my birth. And so they actually sent me something, what they call non-identifying information.
Non-identifying information.
Right.
Yeah.
So they just basically, you was born such and such, such. You got two siblings, about 14 years older than you. One is 2 years older than you. Your maternal father died here. Grandfather died here, and all stuff like that. No names, no
Right.
addresses,
Right.
nothing. So that's all I got. And so this is what I gave the investigator. So he gave me a name, and so I called the lady up, and I asked her, "Do you know who this is?" She said, "Yes." So now I'm like, "Oh, yes, this is it." Then I said, "Listen, I don't want no money, blah, 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 blah. I just want to know my medical history." And she listened to me the whole time. And then after I finished, she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I'm not your mother." Right, right. And so
Well, who is she?
she nobody at that that I thought. So I said, okay, I hung the phone up first because she never clicked over. All right. Let's just keep that. Just remember that. Just remember that right there.
I'm remembering that because you see my mouth is open right now.
So that was a couple $1,000s down the drain. No. Fast forward, I get divorced, get remarried, have another kid.
You on baby number 4
Yeah,
or 3? 4.
let's see, 3, 4,
3.
4. This
Okay.
number 4,
Keep
right? Then I get that one annulled because it wasn't that long.
All right.
And then I remarry again. And then I remarried this time. Now I'm almost out of the military now. I'm about to retire. Then went to war, Afghanistan, all that stuff. And
Now we in the
I've been 20
90s.
some odd years in the military. So I got a whole new personality now because that's what the book talks about, military life. Because the reason why I joined is to get confidence and all this, because as adoptee, for me, I was small at the time. I had no confidence. I didn't like talking in front of people. I was shy. The military changed all that.
Okay.
Speaking to 5,000 people, became a drill sergeant, did all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm a whole new person. So I'm just ready. Oh, I'm ready. Okay, I'm gonna get out. Hey, what's up? What's up? I met this young lady. Boom. On the internet. We both older now. We have kids, so we bring our worlds together, right?
Okay.
Bam. My son says, "Dad, your granddaughter, mother's mother was adopted, and you was adopted. We need to find out who we are, right?" So I'm like, so my son. This is my second oldest son. He's the the one that got all the energy, and he tells you like it is, right? So I'm like, yeah, you're right. So my wife says, he's right. You need to do that, and I support you 100%. So I know how. So first thing I did was took some DNA. Took DNA, 23andMe, African DNA, African what do you call it? Ancestry. I did all that, right?
Okay.
And then after that, I joined a Facebook group called DNA Detectives, and also another Facebook group called Search Angels. I did all this stuff going on. So while I did all that stuff, I'm like, oh man, I hope I'm going to be really disappointed if I don't find anybody. So what I did is
I have a question because you took the DNA test. So why, in your psyche, did you think like you wouldn't find anything?
Because when I took the DNA test, first thing the closest I got was fourth cousins. I have no way. I have nothing to reference. I got fourth cousins. The only good thing about, but that was the fact that I had found someone that had the same DNA as me, and that was, I could say, was my bloodline, was amazing, and it was 4 women. So I'm like, oh. So they started explaining to me DNA and stuff like that. One of them was from the Bahamas, so it was good. And I said, oh, really? He said, the Bahamas, right? And so another one, she was in California. So I'm understanding DNA a little bit and all this good stuff. And then I know identifying information.
Right.
And I don't think what happened. I asked the folks, I said, hey, listen, the state of New Jersey, I asked them for some more information. They said they couldn't give me more information. And so somebody had gave me some information that was false. So I was going down a rabbit hole, looking all North Carolina. Come to find out, that wasn't it. So I called back to the state of New Jersey, and that's when they told me, they said, hey, listen, I don't know who told you that, but your maternal grandmother didn't die in North Carolina. She died she passed away in 1979, in the state of New Jersey in Asbury Park. That's all they could do. They couldn't give me no name or anything. But that was enough. That was enough, right? And I was like, what? So I got that information, and I took all the information, non-identified information and everything, and I gave it to DNA detectives. And so this young lady comes back and she says, I think I found your biological family. I said,
in New Jersey.
in New Jersey. And I said, get out of here. He said, yes. Now, these people are people that used to work in the system, or retired, or been fed up with the system, or whatever, and they still have connections and stuff like that. They help people out. It's a group, it's
Gotcha.
closed, all that. And so, I told her my story in the whole 9 yards. So she started spitting stuff out. She sent a picture of a house, and she started saying, "This is your mother. It looks like your grandfather on your maternal side is the one that passed away, not what they told you on the thing." And they said she had 2 daughters, and the 2 daughters one of them had kids, right? Your
Okay.
grandfather came from the West Indies and traveled and
Oh,
married your grandmother, and then moved down to Asbury Park. And this is the house, and these are some numbers you can call. And so I'm just staring at the screen now, and I'm
yeah.
like,
That's what I want to know. Now, what's going on in your head? Like,
yeah,
how are
I'm
you?
I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
looking
yeah.
and I'm scared. So, but at the same time, I said I'm gonna try this. So,
Yeah, because you've come too far to not.
so I took a break. So the next day, because I would get ready to go on a business meeting for about a week, and so I'm saying I'm gonna get this out of the way. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna say, because I did a lot of research, and so I found all this stuff. I even tried to look up the grandfather. I tried to look up where St. Kitts and Anguilla was, and all this stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting all this information. So I got these phone numbers. So I wound up taking the phone number and I call. And so I call, and the young lady answers the phone, and they said, "Hello, can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, my name is Kevin, so and so, and I'm looking for Lois Hodge." She said, "This is Lois Hodge. What do you want?" Like that. She was very I'm like, well,
Yeah.
well, I believe I'm your son. And she said, "Listen, I ain't got no time to be playing any games. I'm too busy." Click. So I'm like, oh,
I
back
mean,
up now. Now
but you
back up.
led, but you. Oh, go ahead.
Now, on the non-identifying information, I always knew that I had 2 brothers.
Okay.
But when the DNA detectives did their search and stuff, they said I had a sister. So in my head, I'm thinking that's a sister to answer the phone, because the mother has to be way older, because the voice got to be way older, and she's protecting the mother, just making sure the mom ain't dealing with crank
Okay.
calls and all that stuff. So
And because this is what you made up in your head.
in my head, right, I'm saying
Okay.
that had to be my sister, because there's no way in the world that my mother would sound that young on the phone.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, I got to do this. I got to approach this a different way.
Yeah, because you just came out the gate
That
swinging.
yeah, I was like Ali on there, right? And so I had to shuffle back, and so I had to regroup. Okay, let's see. All right, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with the brother, right? So I had a phone number um uh for the brother, but it was in another. It was somebody in the house, or what? At this time, I didn't know, but it was his wife, right? So it was under her name. So I called the phone. In my head, I know what I'm gonna do. So I called the phone. She answered. She actually answers the phone, and so I said, "Hey, how you doing? Um, I'm trying to get in touch with Velva," and she says, "Velva's not home." Now she's Panama. She's Panamanian. She had a thick accent. Velva's not home. I said, "Oh." She said, can you leave a message?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to get in touch with her husband, Johnny Hodge, versus Velma." And so she turns around. She said, "Johnny, somebody's on the phone for you." I told him I wasn't home. I said, I'm hearing you. That's how older people do, right? So, so
I
Johnny,
told him I wasn't home.
he gets on the phone, and I said, "Is this Johnny?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Please do not hang up. Please do not hang up."
That's how you should have led the
Right,
first phone call.
right. I said, I'm just want 5 minutes of your time. Are you sitting down, standing up? You see, you scaring me. I said, "No, I'm serious. I'm not scared. I just want lay some stuff out for you." He said, "Okay." I said, "Okay. Your grandfather's name is Thomas Hodge." He said, "Correct." Thomas Hodge traveled to that St. Kitts, right? met your grandmother in New York City, and they got married and moved down to Neptune, New Jersey. Is that correct? He said, mm-hmm. That's what he kept on doing. Mm-hmm. And I said, they had 2 kids, one Veronica, one Lois. Both of them stand about 4'7". They look like twins. They was born like 1.5 years each. Yeah, okay. One of them had 2 kids, right? And then the other one had 2 kids or at the 2. But the one that had 2 kids had 2 kids, and they was 2 males, and then had another male later on. I mean, a female later on. He said, mm-hmm. So I'm gonna tell you about me, Johnny. He said, I was born in 1960, blah, 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 boom, boom, boom. And I told him about my progress in life, right? And I said, my mother gave me up for adoption. Gave me up to the foster care system in 1960. My name is Kevin Hodge. And he said, And then I said, I'm telling you all this to tell you this. I believe that I'm your sibling, your half sibling. And my mother is Lois. And my grandmother is Cora. And my grandfather.
Now, did we ever get anything else out of him besides?
No, you didn't. So I said, I'm getting ready to go on a business trip, and I'm gonna call you when I get back in a week. And he said, okay. All I ask is just ask your mom. Just tell your mom that story. And he said, okay. That's when he changed it to okay. Then click.
Right.
Now I'm sitting back on the computer and I'm like,
because you just told him something because you were the family secret, I bet.
Right.
You didn't know.
So I go on my trip. Just took 1 day. I said, I can't wait until I get back.
Right. I was going to ask you, did you really wait? Because that's...
No, I didn't wait. I picked up the phone. I called him because he was very easy to talk to.
Yeah.
So I called him and I said, hello, this is Kevin. He said, yeah, I know who it is. I said, did you talk to your mom's? He said, yes. And what she said, I guess I got a brother. So I'm speechless now. And
yeah.
I said, what? So you're my brother? She said, yes, I'm your brother. And I said,
now he's older.
We have a sister too? She said, yes. The person that you called the first time, that's your sister.
You said it.
Right. So I said, I'm gonna talk to you when I get home, for my trip. And he said, okay. Now, as soon as we hung the phone up, I text my sister and I said, you know who this is now? And she said, yes, my older brother, like that. And so that was that until I got home. So, of course I told my wife and she's happy and elated. So
found all these people that...
Right. So when I get home, I said, I'm gonna FaceTime them.
Okay.
So I FaceTime them, and that's the first time I lay eyes on my mom. And she was my sister was hugging her, and she was looking at me, and my mom was looking at her. And we was looking at each other and said, hi. I said, how you doing? It's Captain. And she looked at me and said, hi. Now, her voice sound like the same voice when I called to Germany.
Way back when.
I can't prove it because now as I figured, as life goes through, when I met her and everything, I found out that she was retired. So she was the only one answering the phone all the time. You know what I'm saying? So she could have answered the phone and never told nobody. She had this secret. Right. But anyway, I talked to her. I said, hey, how you doing? She said, how you been? Been doing all right. And my sister's just looking at me like, so after my mom left, my sister said,
hold on. I have a question for you. Is this first of all, do you look like them?
I was going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
I was going to get to
that. Go ahead.
So my sister said, my mom, she went in the room, whatever. And she looked at me. She said, she called me a freak. That's the nickname she gave me to this day. She calls me a freak. What's going on? A battery? I want nothing to go out here.
No, we can't have nothing go out.
Yeah. So just a second.
Okay.
All right.
We good?
Yeah. Yeah. So my sister said, I don't believe it. I said, how do you approach her? And she said, we just. My sister's very bold. She said she got her in the corner and said, Mom, do we got a brother out here? And she said, yeah. He said, yeah, he's looking for you. Yeah. So
Okay, we got to get to why did she give you up?
I don't have 100% answer on that, but I just based off talking to her and talking to everybody else, she had kids before. She had 2 kids before me,
Right.
and then we talking about the '60s. And it's frowned upon having kids out of wedlock, and so to tell her that to tell her mother that she had another kid, would is devastating, and the fact that she had another kid and kept that kid, which is my sister, but she was married when she had her. So I think it's because of the times, and she was just didn't she just couldn't handle me. It probably was a good thing because it made the person who I am today. It was some struggles though. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wish it would have went a different way because I do sometimes. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, that era of the baby scoop era is what it's called. Yeah,
yeah,
if you got pregnant out of wedlock,
yeah,
9 times out of 10, it was a wrap. You was giving that baby up.
yep. That's so true, so true. And so fast forward, we wound up decided to have a meeting and to meet each other. So we met at a place that a friend of mine who I went to school with owned a soul food restaurant. And the
Okay.
crazy thing about it is my friend's wife traveled carpooled with my brother. Yes, it's so many twists and turns. It's crazy. And so we wound up meeting, and when I laid eyes on her, she started crying. She's like I said, she's about 4'7". I told her stop crying. I said
4'7".
4'6". The reason why I keep on saying that is because my father was 6'4".
Whew.
And I didn't get the height. I wound up averaging a 5'8". So I was teasing her about that. But I told her, I said, don't leave her crying. I'm happy. I'm safe and sound and stuff like that. So we all
Yeah.
together, we all meeting and all that. And I got some cousins.
How do you feel in this moment? Because
Well, at this moment, my sister, she and my cousin kept on looking at me and said, "You look more like Mom than anybody else." I have a mole like where we look just alike. If well, yes, we're not on Zoom, but anyway, I put pictures on my IG of me and her together and stuff. But we look
okay,
just like twins, and then
isn't that so real?
it's crazy. And so we had a good time talking. Went over my brother's house and we talked, we ate, and we just talked about
Let me
me.
ask you hold on, let me ask you one more question about you looking like them. Outside of your kids, or were your kids the first time you saw somebody that looked like you?
Yes, the very first
The
time.
very first time.
Now, mind you, the kids look like me. My kids look like me, but I never had
Mhm.
anybody in my life that I could say I look like.
I
So
look
when I
like
lay eyes on my
right.
older brother, my older brother, and also my second older brother, which I didn't meet, which is crazy because he had passed away. But the crazy
Okay.
thing about it is when I went to my first funeral, one of the cousins that I met, she had cancer when she came to meet me, but she wanted to meet me, and she wound up dying like I don't know 2-3 weeks after that.
Oh
But
wow.
when I went to the funeral. This is my first funeral with my biological family. So, growing up in the church, I'm used to wearing suits and stuff. So I'm coming up. So I'm the only one in the funeral that has a suit on, right? And I'm sitting with the family. They're like, who is that guy up
Who
there?
is it?
Right. And so we go to the repast.
Yeah, we're coming with the tea to the repast.
Yeah. And somebody walks up to me and says, Kenny. No, I'm not Kenny. She said, my name is Kevin. He said, Kevin, Kenny, I don't know. You look just like Kenny. you know, Kenny's passed away a while. And I said, I'm my mother's lost son. Like that, I had to say it like that. I didn't know how to say it. He said, Lois. And then Anna, they took over and, told, yes, this is my
I'm
brother.
telling you, in the 60s, when that kind of stuff happened,
Yeah,
it was a secret.
it was a secret. And to
You
even
couldn't
now,
talk
some people don't still. I mean, people are finding out they're adopted, at the age of 60 something,
right,
70.
because it was a secret. They told these young ladies, have this baby, give it up, and you are going to move on with your life, and you'll forget all about this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's literally what they told them.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and they didn't know we was coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, they just thought it was gonna boom.
They
But
didn't
after all
know.
that, I had to find out who my father was. Because I still didn't know who my father. No, you
Right.
my father.
Get out of my head. Every
I'm
time
sorry.
I get ready to ask a question,
My bad. I'm sorry. You told me to
no,
roll.
that
You told
means
me to roll. You told me to roll.
that means that we right here. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm
right,
like, okay, we turning the corner.
right,
Where's
right.
where's your father?
So I said, hey, mom, where's my pops at? And so,
Did
mind you,
she
I
give
don't.
you the information? Was she open with that information?
No, she was trying to
I
hide it.
knew it. I
She was
knew
trying
it.
to hide it because my father, that family lives right next door to them, as I find out. And so, remember I told you I took DNA test, 23andMe and all this?
Right.
Well, I got a hit from a first cousin, okay? And I called the first cousin because, we talked on the portal, and he
In
said,
in New Jersey?
no, I think he was in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And so I talked to him. He said, listen, man, I don't know nothing about this DNA. I just put it out there. And I was just, well, you can call my sister and she can tell you, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I called my first cousin again, but this time I called, my sister. I mean, his sister. And she told me, she said, well, I saw you pop up on the thing. So your father has to be one of these 5 men. Right. And so I said, A couple of days later, now mind you, I still haven't talked to my mother about my father yet in person. A half sibling popped up. It was my sister on my father's side.
Ah,
So I called her. I called my cousin again, and she said, "Oh yeah, George is your father because George is her father."
okay.
Boom. So I didn't meet my sister yet. So I go back to my mother. So I got 3 names. I already know in my head who he is, but I want to hear from her.
What? Yeah.
So I
What'd she say?
said, David, Oscar, George, one of these is my father, right? And she said, yes. I said, which one's my
Okay.
father? She said, without hesitation, she said, George, not black. And then she
Okay.
took a deep breath. Now, mind you, while she's talking to me, she's holding my hand and she's feeling my arms. She's like going back to when she had me. That's the way I took it. She was feeling me,
Mm,
like, just touching me, and then
mm-hmm.
tears are dropping, whole 9 yards. And I'm like, I'm trying to maintain my cool, because I didn't want to lose my cool, crying and stuff. And I told Mom it's okay. I know everything, but I want to know, and I'll never ask you again like that. So fast forward, I wound up meeting my sister for the very first time. Me and my sister look alike. You know, she got my father's size. She's like 5'10", and I got to meet my what do you call it, great niece and my nephew. And
Now,
then
I gotta ask about your father. Did he know that you even existed? Because
I,
sometimes these things happen,
I,
and
I don't. There's some stories. There's a story out there that I think that he did, but he probably didn't. He probably didn't know until later, and when I was like a senior in high school. He was a cop, so I don't think my mother told him, and probably told him at the last minute because what happened one day was my adopted grandmother used to run the church and stuff, and she used to invite people out in the street, and she used to try to talk to them about Jesus and stuff like that. But this
mm-hmm.
man came in there one time who stood very tall, And my adopted father came in right behind him to make sure that he was okay before he left and went upstairs. And so the man sat down in the chair and started looking around in the house. And my grandmother kept pictures of everybody on the piano. And he turned around and asked how Kevin doing. She never seen this man before at all in life. And she said, Kevin's doing okay. And so he stood up and he said, thank you for letting me come in your house. And then he left.
You better not tell me that was your father.
Fast forward. When I found my mother and all this and found out who my father was and got pictures and things like that, I took a picture of just before he passed away, which was probably around the time that he came through, that man came through. And I sent it to my adopted father and said, what this picture look like? This picture looked like the man that came and asked for me when I was like 18, 19 years old. Without hesitation, he said that was the guy that came through. Because he had the dark hair. He had
Did
the
anybody and nobody knew?
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
That's
And
wild.
and then talking to the family, his family or my family, said that he probably saw that he thought that you was okay and he didn't want to mess up your life. So that's the
I
kind of
get
guy
that,
he was. And so,
especially at 18
yeah.
or 19 years
And I
old.
probably wouldn't have been, I don't even, at that time being 18, and I probably wasn't in the frame of mind to receive it.
It wasn't you weren't ready.
Yeah, I wasn't ready.
Nah, you weren't
Yeah.
ready. Not at all. That is wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have everybody. Let's talk post reunion. Let's talk post reunion.
Oh, post reunion.
That's a whole nother.
Oh.
So, you find them, the excitement. Oh my gosh, I look like these people. Now, relationship. Yes, no, maybe.
I had relationships with everybody. My sisters were really close. I mean, we call on the phone. Now it's a little different because you like family now. It's like, your family don't call you. I was the one that had all the energy because I was the one. It's like a marathon. I'm looking for everybody. I signed up. I started up some Facebook groups and all that.
Right.
I don't found on my father's side about over 300 some odd relatives, cousins, and on my mother's side, I found 400 and some odd relatives. Right?
And you know what? You know what happens as adoptees, because this is my own personal experience. Like, I love what you just said. We have all the energy when it comes to family and putting these pieces of the puzzle together. And we're coming into a space where that energy is not matched.
Right.
Sometimes
it's not matched.
It's not matched, and sometimes people are even a little taken back. Like,
right.
We good, and here you come.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here I am. Yes.
Yeah. And so I found different dynamics. Who's not talking to who, and this happened, and money.
Right.
And I found some secrets and stuff. But I'm not saying nothing. Because I'm the new guy on the block. So through my research, you find out these different things. Oh no, that ain't that, but that's what they think. Okay. So I done found all these different things. Like I said, to the families. I'm putting family. I done had a couple of barbecues at my house. I done got people. I done met people together. People that had cousins didn't even know. Someone didn't even know that they have relatives in overseas, like in the islands and things.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm the only one that actually visit where my grandfather was actually raised and born. I've been to the Anguilla. I've been to about 7 different islands already.
It's so beautiful down there.
Yeah, and I've ran into family members and people that I've talked to on Facebook group that I've met in person down there. So it's been really great. I've been to Florida, St. Pete area, and Tampa, and we just came from Jamaica, and I'm in the airport, going to Jamaica, and then this guy walks up and said, "Hey, not black."
I saw your picture.
Yeah, and it's like that's the first time we've actually seen each other, but we've been in this group forever, and that's the first time we met each other. Yes.
What has that been like for you, having all this energy, figuring all this out, and like you just said, like you kind of start piecing together stuff, and you find out stuff, but you can't talk about it because you're the new person on the block. You're not supposed to know none of this stuff.
Right.
I just want to know what it's from another adoptee.
Do
you feel alienated? Do you feel?
No, I take it with a grain of salt. I take it. I don't never feel alienated. I just feel like that. It's like that's what families are. That's all about the family dynamic.
Gotcha.
If I've grown up with my biological family, I would be just like them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I ain't
Mm.
talking to cousin, because you get,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're already
Some
there. You're in the trees for the forest, so to speak. So you're like,
right. And
whatever.
somebody's got to be the bridge.
Right. Yeah. Somebody got to be the bridge. And that
Somebody got
happens
to be
on
the
the
bridge.
bridge. Like, oh, man, you seem like you brought more life into everybody, blah, blah, blah. And it's not like I'm doing it on purpose. It's just that it's like running the marathon. I'm so far behind. I'm just trying to catch up. I'm finding this person, trying to find that
Woo!
person. My cousin, she tells me, well, that's the way it was back then, boom. And
I'm
I
so far behind. I got
yeah.
to catch up.
And then, then sometimes I turn it off. And my poor wife, and she just met me, it was just me. Now all of a sudden I got over 1,000 people. So
Yeah,
we've been traveling to Florida, traveling to Anguilla, we don't travel all the different places. And she has her family, she has a big family too.
right.
So we wound up buying a new house because the family has grown. So we had these cookouts and stuff. You have more people to open the house up. But then COVID came, it's another different story.
And yeah, shut
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
down.
But
So
it's and then my kids, I try to get them like energy like me, and to a certain extent they're there. Yeah, okay, Dad. All right, I know where you are, but
that's so, you know what? I was just doing that with my youngest son earlier
mhm,
today because I've been building out my family tree on my biological side. And I'm like, come here,
mhm,
let me show you. And he was like, that's really cool. He's only 13. But I'm trying to, because I'm even before I started trying to find my biological family, I've always just been. I'm from my adopted family is a tight knit family, so it's how I was raised,
mhm.
and so I'm accustomed to that tightness. And then when I found my maternal side, they were total opposite.
On the
Like,
opposite.
so I'm like, what is this? What do you mean, y'all? I mean, and they don't live that far from each other, but they just the
It's different
dynamic
dynamics.
was just
Yeah,
different. And like you here, I come with all this energy.
yeah. Look at you like, "Whoa, what's wrong? Slow down, slow down."
Slow down. But I love that. I need a shirt. I need to catch up. I'm behind. I need to
Yeah,
catch
yeah,
up.
catch up. Yeah, and that's what I outlined in the
That's a
second book,
bar right there.
in the Shadow of Emotion book. That's what I talk about. The emotion is like a spider web. You like boom, boom, boom. If you do one thing for one sister, you gotta do it for all, not just the biological
Right.
sisters, but I gotta do it for my adopted sister too. And they have met. My brother told me, my adopted brother. He said, "Are you gonna like just forget about us?" And I said, "No," because he
No.
shed a tear. He thought that I was gonna. No, I said, "No, no, it's not
No.
like that." But
It's
they
not.
can't relate unless you're adoptee. You can't relate to
Can't
identity
relate.
issues, relationship issues, and trust issues. These are the three things that plague me even to this day. Sometimes I
Mm,
just can just shut everything off, and my wife had to come to you. All right, you're staring at the wall. What's going on? I'm talking to you for the last 3 minutes and you didn't answer, and because my mind is going back to either something that happened to me,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
something that I would like to happen, or what ifs. There's a lot of if. What if I would have grown up? What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I
Mm,
didn't meet my father? I didn't meet my one of my brothers. So I missed out on these things. So
right.
I sometimes, like, today's his birthday. Kenny's birthday is today. You know, I posted happy birthday. You know, So it's just
Because we're behind, we got to catch up.
yeah, it's
We're
crazy.
behind. Listen, when you see me hashtagging that, I'm gonna give you credit. But I love that.
I don't have to get right. You take it, take
Fine.
it, take it, take it, take it,
Gotta
take it.
catch up. I love that. So, in closing, my ending question for everybody: if you had to say something to the adoptee community, what would you leave them with?
Well, I would say for the adoption community is adoption can be a wonderful thing, but you can't cheat. You have to be truthful. In other
Mm,
words, parents that are looking to adopt a kid, don't take away who they are. Be truthful to them, no matter if they're black, white, Chinese, have a different culture. Don't try to pretend that kid biologically is attached to you, and don't take that away from the individual, because that individual's gonna have questions. Do I have high blood pressure? Do I have cancer? These things, they can't answer that through your bloodline. They have a whole new bloodline. So the adoption process, you have to be honest. And as far as adoptees, whether you're looking for your parents or not looking for your parents, We're different, and it's all right to be different. And we don't have to be grateful, because a lot of people think, well, you should just be grateful. Why are you looking? No. I didn't ask to be adopted. I didn't ask to be given away. These things were put upon me. So why shouldn't I have my original birth certificate like everybody else? Why do I have to get a false one? And why because they made a choice, and now they're just going to try to erase me, and they get more rights than me as an adoptee gets. And that's wrong. We should treat us like human beings. If they made a mistake and they made a human being, that's their issue, but don't make me suffer because of their mistake.
Whew. And on that note, it's on that note. I appreciate you for coming on to the show. Oh my gosh. These stories, I love, especially as the adoptees that I speak to. We walk the same path, but we don't walk the same path.
Right. Yep.
And that's what I love about our community, all these stories. And I know that we're helping somebody every single time we open our mouths and tell our stories. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So on that note, until next week, bye, family.
Journey on. You need a pie, what they get good? Oh yeah, what is the one?